Welcome to Military Faith and Spiritual Resilience. This is Elizabeth Fulgaro. With me today is Alexandra Siliezar, sister of former U.S. Marine Abraham Siliezar. Thank you for continuing to share your story with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
So, talk to me a little bit more about Abraham.
Oh, that's my favorite. Thank you. Yes, that's my favorite. My brother is so, he's so light and so soulful and so strong and resilient. Oh boy, I think the word resilient is him. Even the night before he went missing, he left a voice message for my father. No matter how sick he was, he left a voice message for my father saying, "Hi, Dad. This is your son. Call me. I'd love to see you. I love you." He said, "I love you."
Beautiful message.
And that was it. He loved us. He was love. He is love. I look at his pictures and I see that smile that is so soulful, so kind, so sweet. I hear his voice. I know that he always wanted to do more. He had his dreams. He had dreams to, like most people, not everyone, but he said he wanted to marry and buy his house and have children. It was not that much, right? I mean, he wanted to help others and do good work. And his beautiful, innocent mind that was now damaged with a traumatic brain injury would say that he wanted to pay for my daughter's school for university. Now, he graduated from UC Berkeley, and he would say that he would he would say, "I went to talk to the VA, and I told them, just release the money. So they're waiting, they'll just release the money." And that was him progressively getting worse with his understanding and comprehending of life with his brain injury. But he believed that the VA would just release the money and it would be taken care of. My daughter would go to college in UC Berkeley, just like him. My daughter and I have to try to get her into UC Berkeley for various things, and she finally did a summer program this summer, and I made sure they knew that we were honoring my brother for her to even just walk through the campus and actually be a student there for a week. But my brother was always faithful and showing up to see my mom, to visit, even when the visits were difficult. He would be resilient and continue to show up. He would go to church, even though it was very difficult for him due to his PTSD when he was in the Philippines, and yet would show up to my church that is primarily Filipino. He would still do that because he knew that he wanted to be with family. He always said family was incredibly important, and he said to me in a letter, "I want to find that in you," meaning in me, meaning that he wanted to be really close. He wanted to be that special uncle, that great protective brother. And he knew that he had limitations, with his TBI and his seizures, and he didn't really understand how, but he wanted to be close. He wanted to take that role of being the provider and caretaker, He knew that I struggled as a single mom, but he wanted to be that brother that, and he would say, "I know, I'm supposed to be taking care of my mom. She's not supposed to take care of me. I'm supposed to take care of her." Even though he couldn't, but he wanted to take that role. And there was no judgment with me. He called me every night. He would wish me a happy good night. He would say this, "I love you. I love you. I love you, sister. I love you. And sometimes I had to stop him. It would be like 6, 7 times. I'm like, I know, Abraham. I know you love me. I love you too. But we got to get off the phone, because he would tell me all the time, I love you, sister. I love you. I love you. And I'm like, I know, honey. I love you too, And I knew that he was clinging. Now, when I think about it, he was clinging for life. And he was clinging to be loved, and he was clinging to be accepted. So deep down, I think he knew. In some part of him, he knew that things were not looking well. And he knew that he loved God. And I just pray that God was with him through every breath that he took those last few days.
Such a difficult thing, and yet what beauty he brought into your lives in the midst of his messes.
Mm-hmm.
Where has this taken you now? I mean, we all change every day because we're impacted by different things. We turn, we grow, we absorb, we interpret. Mm-hmm. How has this changed you? Where has it taken you?
I'm still discovering that. I'm still working. It's a work in progress. I can't tell you that I am where I will be hopefully someday. I'm not healed. I'm still very raw. Mm-hmm. I still am processing. I'm still advocating. I am still having dreams of me asking. Just 2 nights ago, I had a dream. I was still talking to doctors about his care. I'm still trying to find him. I'm still trying to wonder if they got this wrong and he's actually out there. I think that's very common. I think that's very normal feeling.
Yes.
And I know that it was him. We were not allowed to see him anymore. It had been 2 months by the time that I learned about it. So his body was not ready to be seen by anyone. I begged. I didn't care what he looked like. I needed to see my brother. I needed to ask him to forgive me for not being there for him. I still want to. I still ask. I still say, forgive me. I still say, I'm sorry, because I feel we're all responsible, Elizabeth. I have a huge, huge amount of guilt for how it happened. I didn't have to go. I could have gone to his apartment and fought whoever I had to fight to let me in. I didn't. I could have not taken my daughter to camp that morning and just driven directly to his house. I didn't. And then I think of all the things of all the people and all the injuries that happened, whether it was the police guards in the hospitals or the doctors who were just tired of seeing him or the people who didn't check up on him the day that I asked for a welfare check. All those things, the person who hurt him 5 years earlier, sometimes and very mildly passing through, I ask him, why did you let this happen to you? Yeah. But he didn't know he was a victim. Then I get upset with God and I said, how could this have been? And then, you know what, Elizabeth? I look at Jesus on the cross and I say, what a perfect, loving person. And yet he died on the cross. What a horrible death. Shame and rejection, assault. And we're no better. We deserve nothing less or more. We're human, and sin is here. Sin is here, and we have to look up at the cross and the promise of the cross and have to cling to that promise, because Abraham did. Abraham said, forgive me, he would say, when he had nothing to. I thought, my gosh, really? This guy never complained. He never accused anybody of anything, and he would say, forgive me, and he would believe in Jesus. And he would say, Jesus came to save sinners, and I am a sinner. Now, he was not perfect. He struggled. I know he struggled. He struggled with symptoms related to his PTSD, to his, depression from the work that he did as a Marine. He struggled. He had trauma. But like he said, I'm not complaining. On the contrary, I am thankful and grateful for the good life. Can you imagine good life? I thought, really? Really, this is... But no. He was grateful. So who am I to complain now if he didn't? If he clung to the cross of Jesus? So when my faith is wavering, when my anger comes to the surface, I think Abraham showed no anger, and he had faith. So I look at Jesus at the cross and I say, I don't have the answers. I don't know where I'll be today or tomorrow or the next day. But I hope that that cross continues to give us the strength to persevere and to go forward, as promised by Jesus, that I will see my brother one more time in his heavenly kingdom, that I might see him, and forgiveness will be given freely, as it was the day of the cross. And any sense of confusion and sadness and anger is gone, because I will hold my brother's hands, just like I will see Jesus' hands. They were both injured, and they will be healed. And where I go from now, I hope that through this venue, it is challenging, but we must persevere. Now, I've talked to Senator Scott Wiener. He gave me an incredible amount of time to share with him about the struggles of what happened. Now, we have such limited time, and thank you for your time, Elizabeth, because it is hard to comprehend the many ramifications of this incident, of what happens in the streets when someone is injured. Who takes care of the injured? Who takes care of the assailant? What happens next in healthcare? Where are the laws to protect individuals with traumatic brain injury, and not just psychiatric issues or children who are missing or victimized or seniors? What happens to just middle age? Because people say, oh, he's not a senior, he's not a child, he's not psychiatric. What do we do? Where does he fit in? Where are the laws to protect people like him? Where are the laws to protect people like the families? I mean, we have military coming in with traumatic brain injuries, with PTSD, with addiction, with depression, with broken families. We have all of our military families suffering every single day. And as people are listening, there are sisters, there are mothers and wives and children probably saying, that is me, I'm struggling, who do I talk to? And the laws make it so difficult, whether it's HIPAA, whether it's lawyers, whether it's doctors, everybody else has a, yes, but we can't talk to you. Yes, but, yes, this, yes, that. No, we need to stop that. We need to change that. Law needs to change. I'm a provider, and I can tell you that the best work that I've been able to do is when families are involved. Not when I just treat the individual. I cannot treat the individual until I listen to the whole family, because no man is an island. I am sorry. There's no such thing. We are here together, and we're here just like I could not keep things secret from my dad, and I cannot keep things secret from my daughter. We cannot keep things secret from family members who are trying to help their loved ones who are suffering. Nobody should have to ever suffer what my brother suffered those last few days, nor the agony that I feel every single day. No one needs to suffer that. Where to next? Well, I had a conversation with one of the doctors just a few days before my brother went missing, and I asked one last time. They did, quote unquote, a research into his file and said he did not meet conservatorship. that what I was trying to get was higher level of care. And I thought and said, well, sure, that would be nice. But the realistic part of me knew that that is asking for gold when there is no gold. So I said, what I want at least is to be able to provide communication, to have communication with the medical doctors when I need to. Because I knew that if I could be his advocate, I could speak when he could not understand. And that one day when I asked the EMTs to search for him, to take him to the emergency room, and they just said, did you call? And he said no, and they closed the door and left and wouldn't tell me anything more. You took away a life. You allowed someone to die when all these things, and yes, they make me upset. And I have to trust that God knew there was a better plan, a different plan, and I need to work to understand and comprehend and accept. I need to do that. But as a human person, I believe that God is also saying we need to change the way things are done on this earth, and that's where we are next.
Do you have any ways that you feel like you're called to be part of that?
This is a great avenue. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Wonderful. You're so welcome. I'm so thankful you were willing, and you've been so wonderful to share.
Thank you. Yes, this is an avenue. We need to talk about it. We cannot keep things covered anymore.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
We cannot cover things anymore.
Yes.
And let me tell you, my brother was incredibly private. Whenever, if I did take him somewhere, I would notify people in his building and I would say, you know, he's going to come with me and he's not going to be here overnight. And he would say, why do you need to tell him those things? You know, he just thought, shh, you know, don't say anything. And I was doing it because I thought, well, if there's ever a day where he doesn't come, that they would actually let me know he's not here. Now, I didn't really get that kind of feedback from them anyway, but at least I tried. But he was really private. And to some degree, I think he would say, why are you sharing all this? Why are you doing this? Because he wanted to be private. And maybe he died in a very private way. And I've made it very public. And I will tell you why. Because his life mattered.
Yes.
And his life still matters.
Yes.
And he would tell me, the reason I believe we were so close, he would tell me, you're the only one that truly cares. You're the only one that cares. And I would try to convince him that other family members care too. Perhaps I was the only one that would only listen to him, you know, nightly with the same stories. And if that's what he felt care, then that was fine. I care about others, just like what he did. Mm-hmm. He may not be here to be the social worker that he intended to be when he was younger, to help others. But if his story can help uncover other people's pain and secrets and sorrows and PTSD and trauma, and if his story, if his love can continue to uncover all that pain, he's still very much alive. And if I can keep that strength, his strength, if I can carry his strength on my shoulders, leave no soldier behind, he will continue to live. Symbolically. Spiritually, he lives with God. Spiritually, he is with God. And in God's promise, I will see my brother again.
Thank you so much for sharing Abraham and your family with us. And I pray that it helps bring the changes that are so needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.